We call all of these people as the non-salaried class or the self-employed class, and we are trying to build savings-based solutions for them. Total deposit base of these credit cooperative societies to the tune of 15 lakh crores.
So about a fourth of India's saving base.
There are immense amount of withdrawal barriers. Of course, penalty is one such barrier. To get your own money, आपको उस customer को 3 से 4 दिन लग जाते हैं.
UPI तो सब use कर रहे हैं.
Exactly.
Should they all be investing? Ki like 3 crore mutual fund investors should be 30 crores in the next few years?
The answer is absolutely right. We have like 2 lakh paying customers. That is nothing.
Yeah.
In a 30 crore audience. Mutual fund जब बने थे तो हमेशा ऐसा सोचा था स्टॉक 2000 है, म्यूचुअल फंड 100 रहेंगे. आज की तारीख में the unique mutual funds are roughly 2000.
I'm Ishaan. Welcome to Lunchbreak with Lightspeed. Today we have Anugrah with us, who's the founder and CEO of Bachat. Really excited to have you here and talk a bit more about what Bachat is building and the problems Bachat is solving.
Thanks a lot, Ishaan, for hosting me. Absolutely my pleasure to be here.
And maybe just to sort of set some context, what is Bachat? What are you building? What is it solving?
So, as the name suggests, it's a savings platform for the large mass of the country. The non-salaried employees of the country, the self-employed segment, what people typically call. It ranges from a shopkeeper who is a sole proprietor to a largish businessman who is deploying, say, a jewelry shop owner or a courier agency owner who is probably employing 4 to 5 workers in a small unit, right? So from a small shopkeeper to this relatively largish size businessman, we call all of these people as the non-salaried class or the self-employed class, and we are trying to build savings-based solutions for them. We start with savings, but the idea is to give a set of financial solutions to this class, which otherwise we have been relatively underserved, unserved, so to say.
Interesting. Maybe just like to make it real, I think for me, one of the things that makes it very real is when we look at the ads. So we'll just play an ad for everyone to get a sense of what this user is, what the value prop is.
भाभी जी, 5 days 4 night का पैकेज बेस्ट है. पहले दिन माता वैष्णो देवी के दर्शन, उसके बाद कश्मीर, स्विट्जरलैंड ऑफ इंडिया.
और ये असली स्विट्जरलैंड जाना हो तो?
अरे भाई साहब, फालतू के 4-5 लाख रुपए लग जाएंगे. बजट है?
नहीं, बचत है. दुकान की यूपीआई से 1000 रुपए की ऑटोमेटिक डेली सेविंग बचत पर लगा दी थी. देखते देखते इतने पैसे जमा हो गए. अब तो जा सकते हैं स्विट्जरलैंड.
अरे भैया, स्विट्जरलैंड है, ये.
बचत ऐप के साथ करो सिर्फ 100 रुपए से डेली सेविंग्स की शुरुआत. पाओ एफडी से बेहतर रिटर्न्स, एसबीआई, आईसीआईसीआई और एक्सिस के भरोसे के साथ. यूपीआई से आसान सेविंग्स और जरूरत पड़ने पर तुरंत विड्रॉवल.
बचत है तो बजट है.
Like, why is this user sort of underserved? Who is it? Like, for example, you said non-salaried class, right? Or self-employed, or maybe freelance or gig. Why are they sort of underserved? Why build for them? What is the problem they are facing?
See, so in India, most of the financial solutions are built for people like you and me. We have cash flows which are monthly in nature. That's why most of the financial solutions are anchored around these monthly frequency. Yes, it is partly simple for the institutions, financial institutions to build products around this monthly.
Yeah.
But a large part is also because we earn monthly.
Monthly as in like EMI, SIP?
Yeah. So you talk about your credit products, all are largely run off EMIs. You talk about investment products, largely monthly SIPs. You talk about credit card, largely monthly bills. You talk about insurances, the innovation also happened कि हम annual premium से monthly premium पे लाएंगे. But the class that we are talking about, they don't earn monthly. Their cash flows are like sporadic in nature. It's not fixed salaries that we receive. Solutions which are mimicking their cash flows, which are exactly tailored to their needs, which are exactly tailored to their requirements.
Maybe give an example. Like, ये कौन है? Like give an example of ये. What is this person doing? कौन से शहर से है? कितना कमा रहे हैं महीने का? What is their life like?
Yeah. तो मैं अपने base product की बात करता हूँ. So essentially, when we started with a daily saving solution, right? An idea was, premise was, let's go and look at relatively smaller size shopkeepers. These are shopkeepers probably earning between 40,000 to 50,000 a month.
Yeah.
40 to 60,000 a month. And we focused largely in the northern part of the country. So and हमने बेसिकली एक बहुत ही सिंपल प्रपोजिशन से इनको बोला कि यार आप डेली कमा रहे हो तो डेली बचाओ भी. It starts with rupees 100 a bucks. You broadly get returns which is closer to an FD kind of a return, 6-7%. And on the back end of it, there's trust of SBI, ICICI, Axis, those funds that we sell, right? So this was the proposition that we kind of offered these guys. The fact that it was very small, 100 rupees से start हो जाता है, became an instant hit for these customers. कि यार कितना आसान है, 100 रुपए से शुरू हो जाता है, right? There is a very easy, जब निकालना है तब निकल जाता है, जब डालना है तब जल जाता है, and so on so forth, right? And to take out 100 bucks out of their daily earning is not very difficult. कोई अगर ये 50,000 रुपए भी महीना कमा रहा है ना, तो his daily cash flows would be at least 5,000 to 8,000. To take out 100 bucks from this 5,000 to 8,000 incoming cash flows, it's very easy for this guy.
Interesting. What were they doing before Bachat?
So India is
पैसे तो बन रहे होंगे, they were saving, I imagine.
बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग चीज है, सब लोग बहुत अपने अपने जुगाड़ लगाते हैं, राइट? एक अनफॉर्चुनेट रियलिटी है कि एटलीस्ट इन द क्लास दैट वी डील विद, इफ यू डोंट टेक आउट मनी, इट जस्ट गेट सबस्यूम्ड इन द बिजनेस.
ओके,
राइट? तो वरना वो धंधे में ही रहता है, बिकॉज फॉर देम देयर बिजनेस इज द मोस्ट कैपिटल इफेक्टिव. उनको अगर कोई भी पैसे मिलेंगे अपने धंधे में ही डालेंगे,
ठीक है,
राइट? सो दे यूज अ सेट ऑफ जुगाड़ टू कार्व आउट सम मनी. I'll talk about some jugards over here, and then there are informal instruments that also exist. Like a jugad was basically कि एक शॉपकीपर ये करता था कि वो एक कस्टमर से पैसे ही नहीं लेता था. बोलता था कि सर आप अपने पैसे मेरे को मंथ एंड पे देना, आपका जो भी है, because why? That money that you will give me at the end of the month, I will use that money to pay off my rent.
Okay.
So there's a lot of mental accounting that they do.
Interesting.
Right? There's a very, and then there are a plethora of informal instruments that exist in the economy. You would have often heard terms like chit fund committees and so on. Those are another very interesting informal instruments where they park certain money. But those informal instruments were largely monthly in nature. But during our research, when we were incepting Bachat, I went and spoke to a lot of these customers कि आप लोग करते कैसे हो, मतलब बचाना बड़ा मुश्किल काम है, मतलब essentially. That's where I discovered that there's a huge daily informal savings economy that also exists in the country. बहुत अलग अलग नाम है इस इकोनॉमी के at different parts of the country. The pan India name is Pygmy.
ठीक है.
In Maharashtra it is called as Patpeti. So, but what happens over there is एक एजेंट आता है शॉपकीपर की दुकान पे. शॉपकीपर की जितनी इच्छा है, 100 रुपीज, 200 रुपीज, 500 रुपीज, 800 रुपीज, वो उस एजेंट को दे देता है.
ओके,
राइट? एंड धीरे धीरे वो पैसा अक्यूमुलेट करता है. So the reason shopkeeper does it is basically again the very same reason कि यार to take out 200 bucks is very easy for him.
Yeah.
Right? And it is supremely convenient. वो एजेंट घर पे आ रहा है कि ले रहा है, कहीं जाना ही नहीं है मेरे को. It was easy to take out that money, and over a month वो 200 bucks translates to 6,000 bucks. So the government of India does recognize these entities.
Okay.
These entities are called as credit cooperative societies.
Okay.
These 2 lakh credit cooperative societies cumulatively are serving 30 crore customers. The total deposit base of these credit cooperative societies to the tune of 15 lakh crores.
Wow.
Like, to give a perspective, India ka savings deposit base is roughly 60 lakh crore.
So about a fourth of India's saving base.
Yeah. And ये सारे reported numbers हैं.
Informal इसके ऊपर होएगा.
इसके ऊपर informal होएगा, इसके ऊपर chit fund economy, community economy इसके ऊपर है.
And what kind of terms are people doing this at? Like, is it good? Is it bad? Like,
the terms are pretty exploitative in nature. They get interest, which is roughly 2% in an annum, which is less than a savings account interest.
Okay.
There's a penalty if you take out this money before 6 months, which is to the tune of 3 to 4%. There are immense amount of withdrawal barriers. Of course, penalty is one such barrier, but the process to withdraw this money is also pretty painful. Like, to get your own money, आपको उस कस्टमर को 3 से 4 दिन लग जाते हैं, but फिर भी वो लोग करते हैं.
कि FD में क्यों नहीं डाल रहे?
FD is a great product, no denial about it, but FD का starting point is much higher. especially with relatively more reputed banks like SBI, ICICI. It starts with 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 bucks. FD comes with lock-ins and all of those things. Matlab, thirdly, to open an FD, it's a pretty cumbersome process. If you are having an FD in a bank, then also to open a new FD in that same bank is very cumbersome. This guy says, "यार मैं अपनी दुकान छोड़ के बैंक थोड़ी जाऊंगा खोलने." The design of an FD for this guy has not been made. Power of this daily is essentially to take out little amount every day, which accumulates over time.
Got it.
FD, एक तो FD, there is no daily FD also. The most frequent FD is a weekly FD that not offered by a lot of banks. Most banks offer a recurring FD which is monthly in nature.
Maybe why are banks not serving this audience? Why are these underserved? What would you call them? Like,
so the idea is basically to create solutions which are exactly catering to their needs and their requirements.
okay,
These entities, credit cooperative entities, are essentially pseudo banks only.
all right,
And they have created a solution which is exactly meeting their requirements, right? One way to look at it is कि underserved नहीं है ये, मतलब कर रहे हैं ना सब, तभी तो 15 लाख करोड़ का
Fair.
धंधा हो गया
ठीक
इधर
है.
पे, right? The way it is served is very traditional. The idea is basically, can they be served in a much better way? Historically, the likes of banks like Syndicate Bank, Allahabad Bank did try all of these things.
Okay.
Canara Bank ki scheme hai called as Nitya Nidhi scheme, which is still doing all of these things, right? But the way and the form in which it is done is, in today's age and world, is not very scalable. And it is not like, क्या होता है कि why are they giving 2% interest
Yeah.
to this customer? Because there's a huge OPEX cost. मतलब उस आदमी को
जाना है,
collect करना है, and so on so forth. So that cost needs to, मतलब वो unfortunately customer की pocket से आती है.
Fair.
So with technology, can you transform this into a better solution, which is a better one for the customer as well as for the entity?
Got it. And maybe that gets us actually to a good segue into what is the solution and why is daily SIP in mutual funds, or maybe put it in a different way, why is this the right solution, or why is this the best solution for them?
In our research, we realized that there's a huge habit. There's a need. That need is already getting addressed through some solution. The idea was, can we just build a solution which exactly taps onto this habit? नई habit हम नहीं बना सकते थे,
ठीक है.
right? And of course, technology being at the center of it. We were not fixated with any other product. ठीक है, हमने बोला जो product technology से हम deliver कर सकते हैं, we should go and address that product. The idea was कि let's provide a solution to this customer which is not exploitative, which is currently the case, right? तो हमने बहुत सारे प्रोडक्ट सोचे, हमने FD भी सोचा था, हमने डिजिटल गोल्ड भी सोचा था. Finally, we zeroed down in mutual fund. There were 2 or 3 reasons associated with it. One was basically, and within mutual fund, we chose debt mutual fund.
All right.
Right. So we realized that FD was not possible because of the high amount barrier and so on. Digital gold was not possible or was eliminated in a way because there's a buy-sell spread, there's a GST angle to it. We wanted to preserve this 100 rupees of capital that this guy is putting. अगर 100 रुपए डाल रहा है तो 100 का 99 ना हो, was the premise that we started with, right? In that premise, debt mutual funds work really well. It starts with rupees 100. More often than not, debt mutual fund बात कर रहे हैं तो उसके generally they give a alpha only, or whatever. The returns would be lower, but it is typically predictable at 7-8%, right? Even within debt mutual fund, if you choose something like a liquid fund, तो बिल्कुल ही predictable रहती है. Right? And then you are also able to work with very trusted brands like SBI, ICICI, Access. So that's why we zeroed it down into debt mutual funds to start with. The onboarding journey was also made very, very smooth. See, हम उसको mutual fund नहीं बेच रहे हैं, हम उसको daily savings बेच रहे हैं.
Understood.
The savings was possible with the help of debt mutual funds.
Got it.
And that's why we went ahead with it.
Understood. And now, like, given sort of maybe mutual funds has become sort of the entry product, would love to sort of step back and look at the mutual fund industry also. One thing I was surprised by was we always assume, because I think maybe we all invest, we all have SIPs, we all have a demat account, that it's fairly widespread behavior now. Mutual fund was very popular, it was very sort of broad. So लगता है mutual fund में तो सब invest कर रहे हैं, कोई लोग stocks खरीद रहे हैं. But that's not really the situation, right? Like, outside of this audience, what does the industry look like? What does the world look like outside sort of our bubble?
Like just to give some numbers and it will help you shape the perspective. Like there are roughly 50 crore UPI transacting customers in the country. The demat account holders would be probably 10 odd crore, having 20 odd crores of demat accounts. People who have tried mutual fund are only 5 crores.
Wow.
Amongst that, people who are actively doing mutual funds are only 2.5 crores. And there was a massive push by the government, and thanks to that, people are generally aware about mutual fund. ऐसा नहीं है कि people को the campaign mutual fund सही है has been a rock solid campaign. There's been massive awareness. The AUM has grown of the industry, but there's a huge population which has still not yet tried mutual fund, and there's a sizable population like 5 crore के beyond तो try ही नहीं किया है. And within the people there are a lot of people who have tried mutual fund but have kind of become dormant.
I always get surprised at this number that in my head, mutual funds is the entry product and sort of the base product, and stocks and demat is the advanced product. But why is it the other way around? Why are more people having demat accounts than active on mutual funds? Like, and not thoda sa, 3x more.
See, the way those are sold makes a huge difference in a way. Like stocks में how are these any of these elements sold? There are like कोई ने बोला, कोई influencer ने बोला, कोई friend ने बोला कि मैंने इसमें 100 rupees के 300 rupees कर लिए. Why don't you also try it?
ठीक है.
That's how typically a lot of these things are sold, right? कि एक को देखा देखी दूसरे कर लेते हैं. The entry happens that way, and then suddenly एक shock लगता है कि यार ये तो हुआ ही नहीं. ये तो मुझे कुछ मिससेल कर दिया गया था.
Interesting.
Right? People should be allowed to ease into any of these products, which doesn't typically happen. People the way they are sold is basically luring them into very high returns.
Which is not the right answer for them and also not possible.
हाँ, मतलब these are wealth बहुत बनती है लेकिन it takes time, right? There is no shortcut.
Like if someone's transacting on UPI, which I assume most of this 30 crore self-employed sort of base UPI to sab use kar rahe hain.
Exactly.
Should they all be investing? Ki like 3 crore mutual fund investors should be 30 crores in the next few years?
The answer is absolutely right. कि हाँ 30 crores होना चाहिए. Why should there be any reason for them not to invest? See, everyone, there's a savings corpus, there's a growth corpus. So everyone needs to start investing. There's also behavioral shift that is starting to happen, that more and more people are वो अपना savings corpus कम कर रहे हैं और investing corpus बढ़ा रहे हैं. And if there is a need to spend, then they deplete or whatever, they take out from their investing corpus.
Got it.
Right? So there's मतलब सबसे पहले आज not for this segment, but even the salaried class, they start investing a large chunk of their salary into one of these things, and जब भी जरूरत पड़ती है तो इसके against निकाल लेते हैं.
Interesting.
And then there are a lot of other products that have started line against mutual fund and all of those things, which are also further spurring this behavior.
And then like how do we get there? Like what do we have to do in the next few years to get all of these people into this investing economy, into mutual funds or whatever the right product?
If you try to sell things that are typically sold to them, then it will not click with them. You have to really curate and tailor and message according to them.
What's an example of that?
So, for example, monthly SIPs is not a great product for them.
Yeah.
Their cash flows are not monthly in nature. You need to create an offering which is actually conducive for their cash flows.
Okay.
Right? It is like at some of our customers in our platform put like somewhere around close to 5,000 of daily SIPs.
Wow.
Which is like 1.5 lakhs of. But उनको 5,000 comfortable है, 1.5 lakh रुपए comfortable नहीं है.
Even though it's the same thing in our heads.
Yeah. Well, so you have to really curate according to their needs.
Interesting.
Their needs are all about कि मुझे है ना मुझे daily type का चाहिए, that is one need. मेरे को when I need that money, because they are also in business, they also feel that there can be exigencies that come in. So that money should be immediately available if there is a need.
Got it.
So you have to solve for that. म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री में क्या होता है कि सैटरडे संडे इन्वेस्टमेंट्स नहीं होते हैं,
ठीक है,
एक मंडे होते हैं,
हाँ.
बट फॉर देम तो मेजर धंधा उनका वीकेंड पे होता है. दे वांट टू ओवर इन्वेस्ट इन वीकेंड्स.
Interesting.
Right. So you have to solve for those things.
There's a lot of nuance to be figured out, and this is for one product.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe just so everyone also has some more context, Bachat's obviously a relatively new platform.
Yeah.
like how many users are there now? What's the last few months been like?
Hmm.
And then let's get a bit into like, what do you think this should look like in a few years?
Yeah.
But maybe to just set context, what has that been like?
Yeah, so our journey has been like truly amazing. We only launched our app in May of last year, May of
Okay.
2025, and we have close to roughly 2 lakh paying customers. These are daily transacting in a way. Last month we had acquired almost 50,000 odd customers. To give a perspective, like a large bank like an ICICI bank with its 7,000 odd branches, 50,000 people also acquire 50,000 SIPs every month.
Wow.
And we are almost doing the same with our small growth team, right?
And daily SIP. So actually that into 30 transactions happening.
हाँ बिल्कुल our the industry's average SIP ticket size is roughly $2,800. For us, actually it is higher. It is roughly 3,500 if I
Make it monthly.
yeah. So it is almost it is better parity. We still feel we are just scratching the surface. 50,000 acquisitions and this is 100% digital. Only focus on the northern belt of the country. तो हम बहुत ही early premature stage पे हैं अभी.
Interesting. And what's the what does this become in your mind? Like, is this obviously it feels like this product is working and like
Yeah.
there is user love, there is user pull, people are finding it useful and sticking around. What does Bachat become for users 5 years later? Is it a much larger daily SIP or daily saving company? Is it something else? What should it be in your mind?
So we are a financial solutions company for this strata of audience. हम ज़्यादा नहीं बस 5 से 8 financial solutions बनाएंगे which are exactly tailored, curated for this guy. जो हमने पहला प्रोडक्ट बनाया था वो डेली सेविंग्स था एंड डेली सेविंग्स में भी बहुत नुआंसेस है. वी टॉक्ड अबाउट शॉपकीपर बट अ लार्जर बिजनेसमैन की कुछ अलग ही रिक्वायरमेंट रहती है. उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट इज आई एम जस्ट गिविंग वन एग्जांपल बट उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट इज he loves the facility of a easy top up, easy top down. He is having a cash flow कि 1 लाख रुपए आया है तो उसे 1 लाख रुपए की एफडी नहीं करनी है.
ठीक है.
उसे 1 लाख रुपए 3 महीने के लिए पार्क करने हैं. तो the facility of one click possibility to do it, it's an amazing facility. So but stepping back, हम उसके financial solutions provider बनना चाहते हैं. हमने start किया था कि यार तेरा savings कर ले इधर पे जाके. We have now seeing a lot of demand from our customers saying यार ये अच्छा चल रहा है, हमें इसमें मिल जाते हैं 7-8% रिटर्न, हमें थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा चाहिए. लेकिन म्यूचुअल फंड इज एक्चुअली अनफॉर्चुनेटली थोड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स भी है बिकॉज जस्ट मतलब देयर आर 44 AMCs, देयर इज लार्ज कैप, स्मॉल कैप, मिड कैप एंड सो ऑन सो फोर्थ. म्यूचुअल फंड जब बने थे तो हमेशा ऐसा सोचा था यार स्टॉक्स 2000 हैं, म्यूचुअल फंड 100 रहेंगे, तो वी आर रिड्यूसिंग द कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी ऑफ स्टॉक. लेकिन आज की तारीख में द यूनिक म्यूचुअल फंड्स आर रफली 2000.
Wow.
Right? So to select one out of that is very complex for this guy. You and me can appreciate it कि हाँ ठीक है हमें large cap जाना है and so on.
I also can barely appreciate it sometimes.
Yeah. Right? So there's a huge demand that is coming in from these customers. We also want to grow our money. We also want कि हमें भी 12-15% की return मिल जाए. But can you solve for it in a very non-complex way? In a very simple way. Don't drown us into detail कि वाला फंड अच्छा है, इसकी ये है, इसकी वो है and so on so forth. Just simply बता दो कि यार मिल जाएंगे इधर.
ठीक है.
Right? So that is one solution that we are trying to build. The segment that we have targeted, of course, credit has been their inherent need. But to do a credit in the form in the way it is traditionally done will not fulfill their purposes. Again, credit में भी इनके लिए सोचना पड़ेगा कि कैसे इसको exactly credit दिया जाए, which is acceptable to this guy, but also allows to take care of the lender in a way, right? So the idea is basically बिल्कुल curated solutions बनाए जाएं इसके लिए.
Interesting. You know, there's this question that comes up in fintech especially कि यार you can go build distribution and then you can cross sell and then वो होता नहीं काफी बार. What about this curation makes it happen? Like, or rather, when does cross sell happen? When does it not? Like, what will enable Bachats to go from a savings platform to a financial solution provider for a user? What gives you confidence, or what will it take for that to work?
So there are 2-3 aspects associated with it. A, the cross-sell product, how well it has been created or crafted for that audience. If it is off-the-shelf product, थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है. Just because the classic example is just because MAUs आ रहे हैं तो ad चला दो,
हाँ,
will not work. Craft it. मतलब unfortunate है, but yes, you have to really found the PMF again for that cross sell product with that segment. That's the hard work that is required. There's no well, it is non-negotiable.
Which has also sort of been the learning across I think platforms, right? कि ठीक है पहला product चल गया, it's not like now you just add 3 products and posters and click on it and पैसे बन जाएंगे.
हाँ, वो at least I don't lie in that boat.
Fair.
मुझे नहीं लगता कि वो वैसे करेगा. You have to really curate it. You have to really, you have to almost identify the PMF for that cross-sell product as well. The second and the third aspect is basically what is your positioning with regards to your base product.
Okay.
Right? What is the engagement that that base product is garnering for you on that person? What is the view that the customer possesses about you with that base product? Right? बहुत उस पर बहुत मैटर कर जाता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल वी स्ट्रांगली बिलीव दैट हमारे कस्टमर्स हमें ना थोड़ा सा एज अ सपोर्टर, एज अ एडवाइजर देखते हैं. दैट्स द पोजीशनिंग दैट वी वांट टू रियली टेक फॉर दिस कस्टमर, कि वी आर अ प्लेटफॉर्म जहाँ पे थोड़ी सी वी वुड बी गाइडेड द राइट वे कि ये मेरे लिए बेस्ट है.
You know, I'll pick up on something you said, which I've always found very interesting in our discussions. कि यार almost all your inputs are user backward. All the learnings are user backward. All the PMF for inputs are user backward. How does that happen? How do you do that?
We are very fortunate. मतलब 2-3 बहुत ही, एक तो हम जिस टीजी की बात कर रहे हैं वो हर जगह है. मतलब तो एवरी मतलब डेली कुछ नहीं तो बाय द नेचर ऑफ द लाइफ वी लिव हमें 10-15 एनकाउंटर्स तो डेली होते हैं.
Okay.
Of with our TG, right? So it's, and not only me, everyone in our company. ठीक है, just because अब दूध लेने तो सब जाते ही है ना, right? So the encounters happen very organically for everyone.
All right.
Plus there is a lot of focus that we see that मतलब probably I would have used the word curated multiple times in this conversation itself. वो बहुत एक really emphasize करते हैं कि कुछ भी अगर स्टैंडर्ड करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो नहीं होएगा. तो व्हाट इज दैट रियल इनसाइट विथ विच द कस्टमर गेट हुक्ड, तो वो हमेशा ढूंढते रहते हैं. देयर आर मतलब वी हैव अ स्मॉल कॉल सेंटर टीम दैट प्रोवाइड्स अस एक्सीलेंट फीडबैक. खुद से ऑन अस आल्सो वी डू अ लॉट ऑफ कॉल्स.
Okay.
राइट, कुछ नहीं तो एवरी वीक 2-3 hours we are just there in the call center making our own calls and so on. Right? You learn a lot about these customers. Like within our base product also इतने सारे plethora of use cases बन गए. India is truly a diverse country. हमारी 2 लाख की बेस में भी कुछ नहीं तो 5 to 7 material use cases बन गए. Why they do it?
Interesting. I remember I think पहली office के guard became a user and then started referring people, right?
Yeah, so it started with that population, the shopkeepers, the guards and so on and so forth. But as I mentioned to you, use case काफी expand हुए. For them, the use case was just saving.
Yeah.
कि 200 rupees translates to $6,000.
Yeah.
For a relatively, मतलब we were positively surprised when a jewelry shop owner and ये सारे लोग आने लग गए. For them, the use case was easy top up, easy top down. We saw, हमने salaried के लिए बनाया नहीं था product.
Yeah.
But we saw a demand of salaried guys as well. Not people like you and me, the typical corporate salaried guy, but a tier 2 salaried guy. The use case for them was a no penalty product. Here, I have to make a payment or I have a house that is expected to get, मतलब मेरे को 3 लाख रुपए हाउस के लिए देने हैं.
Yeah.
आज से 6 महीने बाद. Let me park it over here. A 6 month FD is not that yielding. And that 6 months में 6 महीने में घर बनेगा कि 5 महीने में बनेगा कि 7 महीने बाद बनेगा. That is also there's a tinge of unpredictability associated with it.
You know, when you get such diverse inputs and such diverse use cases, how do you prioritize कि क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना?
You are right. See, there are use cases and then use cases translates to features and then features are required to be productionized.
Yeah.
मतलब use case can either translate into features or they can translate into some selling proposition.
Yeah.
कि आप इसके लिए बचा लो, आप उसके लिए बचा लो and so on and so forth. Or it can translate to feature. Luckily for us, feature wise है ना थोड़ी सी comprehensive library उतनी ही है कि instant withdrawal होना चाहिए, जल्दी investment होना चाहिए, returns इतनी आनी चाहिए and so on. So typically if you create a library of features, now it's all about कि कौन सी feature को anchor करना है for that segment of customer. So selling is the more with use case, what comes out is more important is the what is that selling proposition that you want to anchor for
Got it.
this audience. तो बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक टारगेटिंग करी जाती है कि यार इस कस्टमर को टारगेट करना है तो ये बोल के टारगेट करते हैं. कोई को एस्पिरेशन बोल के टारगेट करेंगे, कोई को व्हाट एस्पिरेशन इज द टिपिकल घर
Yeah.
बनाना है एंड सो ऑन सो फोर्थ. कोई को फॉर सम रीजंस पीपल सेविंग्स बोल के टारगेट करेंगे, कोई को इमरजेंसी के लिए टारगेट करेंगे, कोई को फॉर एग्जांपल वेरी शॉर्ट टर्म चीजों के लिए टारगेट करेंगे
Understood.
एंड सो ऑन.
Very interesting. Maybe just shifting a bit to more about you guys. Like, why is this interesting to you? Like, would love to maybe dive a bit into your background, how you got into financial services, how you and your co-founders came together, and why is this something that excites you all?
Prior to building Bachat, I was a partner at BCG.
Okay.
I had spent like good to 11 years with BCG before and all I have done is basically through BCG only. So
Okay.
my only learnings, everything that I know is because of BCG. Contrary to typical BCGN career, मेरा career थोड़ा सा अलग रहा है. I've spent almost 7-8 years just working with 2 clients in my BCG career. I worked with a large NBFC and I worked with a large private bank.
Alright.
In both these places, in large NBFC, I was building their unsecured personal loan, unsecured business loan. I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to build these businesses from scratch for that large NBFC. And that's where I encountered this population. मैंने इनके लिए खूब मतलब हम लोग unsecured personal loan करते थे. The ticket sizes were roughly 1.5 lakh. Unsecured business loan करते थे. The ticket size was roughly 15 to 20 lakh. So I had seen the lower end of the spectrum of this audience as well as the higher end of the spectrum of this audience. And तो इनको बहुत thoroughly जाना था in my experience, because whenever you are building, yes, there was a backing of this large NBFC, but you really need to know customer की क्या कर रहा है, क्या सोच रहा है, and so on and so forth. Then I had approached the same audience when I was working with this large bank. उधर पे मेरे को lending नहीं करना था, उधर saving करना था. The mandate was very clear कि we want to mobilize granular, sticky retail deposits.
Yeah.
Not the deposits of HNI which are somewhat lumpy in nature. तो पहले मैंने इस ऑडियंस को खूब लोन दिए थे, फिर मैंने इस ऑडियंस से खूब सेविंग्स कराई. तो मैंने दोनों पर्सपेक्टिव देखे, एंड दैट्स वेयर आई गॉट अ लॉट ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन टू स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग बचत. My other 2 co-founders, Ankur and Mayank, they are all my batchmates only from IIT days, so we know each other. Ankur and Mayank also happen to be batchmates from IIM Bangalore. तो उन लोग का तो और ही ज्यादा क्लोज नेटेड है, एंड दे कम फ्रॉम अ वेरी वेरी डिफरेंट एक्सपीरियंस बट अगेन केटरिंग टू द सेम ऑडियंस. तो जैसे मेरे को थोड़ा बहुत फाइनेंस आता है, अंकुर कम्स फ्रॉम अ वेरी डीप ग्रोथ एंड एक्विजिशन बैकग्राउंड. ही वाज हैंडलिंग ओयो का इंडिया रेवेन्यू फॉर द लार्जेस्ट पार्ट. अगेन ओयो के बोथ कंज्यूमर साइड भी देखता था, तो द टिपिकल टीजी हु टेक्स अ ओयो होटल आर समवॉट सिमिलर इन नेचर. On the supply side also he looked at, so the typical hoteliers are relatively largish businessmen or largish merchants. Then he also happened to work with another startup called as Battery Smart. हमारे batchmates का ही था वो. So again looked at kirana stores, look at e-rickshaw drivers and so on. So he also had a very very strong pulse of this TG, but from a different mindset of growth, distribution, कैसे बनाना है. At one point in time Ankur was like he had built both physical as well as digital workforce. तो अंकुर के पास almost 1000 और team members report करते थे while he was at Battery Smart, right? So he had deep experience कि कैसे इस आदमी को प्रोडक्ट बेचा जाता है, कैसे large physical networks भी build किए जाते हैं if there is a need for all of these things. Mayank on the contrary comes from a very deep product and tech background. He's also an ex-BCGN. After spending good 3-4 years with BCG, he went to Urban Company, did very deep work in product and tech for them. ठीक है, very sharp in consumer insights कि क्या customer बोल रहा है, what is that exact need that the customer is having. Build a lot of, like one of the pet project of Mayank was all about Urban Company का pro membership. Right, scaled from 0 to 100 plus crores of annualized revenues. Right, so did a lot of product and tech work for them, crafted products for them. With Urban Company, again, on the partner side, he got a pulse of this audience कि उनके लिए क्या चलता है. So we all had few things in common, which was our background of IIT IIM.
Yeah.
We all had this TG in common. We have all had worked with this TG in various shapes and forms. The uncommon thing or the complementary aspect was just the diversity of the work that we have done. I think new insights about the customers and then catering, transforming that insights into newer solutions is the most exciting thing. We are still at a stage where every month, every now and then there is a new insight that comes in, and then उस insight को solve करने के लिए एक feature ship out करते हैं, and then it gives us immense delight कि यार वो feature ने really वो use case solve करा है.
Nice.
Right? There's an unfortunate reality that I've realized about this business. This business is a lot about taking a lot of micro decisions, right? Versus
One big decision.
One big decision, and that's where the beauty lies. The day we will become far from this customer is the day we will lose, is what we feel, and we strongly feel अभी भी हम surface ही scratch कर रहे हैं. We have like 2 lakh paying customers. That is nothing.
Yeah.
In a 30 crore audience. We are trying to launch our credit product. That is also, let's see how it pans out. We are trying to innovate over there as well. So there's so many use cases and pockets that are available to capture. We have to just continue building.
Literally 1% done.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thanks so much, Anugrah, for taking out time for this, and excited to keep working together and see the next few years.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks a lot.